Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Wrestling here on Leon the King TV. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Wrestling. Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, hit that subscribe button. Whatever you do, please hit that subscribe button. Leave a like, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, and share the video. But yo, we talking about it today. Tonight we're gonna be talking about it. So big news with AEW. It has been announced that Renee Parquette, who's formerly with WWE, also worked with WWE backstage, is officially signed a contract with All Elite Wrestling. She's officially with AEW. And Renee Parquette is officially All Elite. So therefore, she'll be working. She actually debuted earlier tonight on AEW. She'll actually be, wait a minute. She's best known for her time in WWE between 2012 and 2020, where she served as a commentator and presenter and interviewer, backstage interviewer for WWE, and she was the host of the Fox Sports show WWE Backstage. So this is kind of interesting that you made this jump over to AEW with all that's going on. And now it's kind of being said that she was signed by Tony Khan. So this is kind of interesting. Congratulations for Renee Parquette. She'll be working alongside John Moxley, so that's interesting. Who was formerly Dean Ambrose. So that's interesting. But the other day on the channel, we obviously talked about WWE Extreme Rules, which was this past weekend, and what a great show it was, a great match, a great card, and we enjoyed the show, and it was fun. So as we talked about the other day, we all know that it was announced that Bray Wyatt had came back to WWE, signed a contract. It had been rumored for months, but it's now officially true that Bray Wyatt returned to the roster on, I believe it was this past Saturday at Extreme Rules. And now we're also getting Bray Wyatt I believe that he has been drafted, if I'm correct. He is also now officially on the SmackDown brand. So we'll see Bray competing on Friday nights on SmackDown on Fox. So that's awesome. So also on the show tonight, I want to talk about basically got two things out of the way. I guess the best thing that they can probably do with Bray Wyatt is put him in a feud right now. And I think that, well, first of all, it's also been rumored that they could be debuting a new faction with Bray Wyatt on the roster. So we could be getting this rumored faction called Wyatt 6, which has been rumored for a while, even on the internet. It's been rumored. And it's called Wyatt 6. It's a faction including 6 members of the WWE roster, which is interesting because we've recently seen, since Triple H has been in the head of creative position, we've kind of seen a lot of returns to the roster. We've seen returns like Braun Strowman on Monday Night Raw. We saw returns like Dexter Loomis, who's currently feuding with The Miz. We've seen returns like we've seen many returns of Bray Wyatt recently. We've also seen the return of Hit Row, Top Dollar B-Fab, and Ashante Adonis. So we've also seen returns from who else? We've got returns from Gallows and Anderson, who reformed DLC with AJ Styles. So we've seen that this past Monday. So this has been kind of exciting to see what they're doing with the returns. But could it be that they're setting up a new faction with Bray Wyatt? I mean, Wyatt 6. This is kind of interesting. Could it be Braun Strowman, Dexter Loomis, Bray Wyatt, and the other 3 members? So this could be interesting what they're trying to do. Being the world champion is a dirty job. You gotta be ruthless and indiscriminate. So it's being reported now that the rumored names to join Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt 6 faction could be Karrion Kross, Liv Morgan, Bo Dallas, The Diet. I could definitely see Karrion Kross join the Wyatt 6. If they're trying to start and create this new faction, then I definitely think Karrion Kross is the perfect choice because he has that dark gimmick. But Liv Morgan, if they're trying to go for a female character in the faction, I could definitely see them adding Liv Morgan. The other name, I don't even know who that is. But yeah, this sounds like this could be an interesting feud. I wouldn't mind if they had Dexter Loomis join the faction. I think he fits in perfectly. So I think we're going to see what happens with Wyatt 6. And it's pretty interesting. He actually tweeted out on the Wyatt 6 page, one of the most important things you can do on this earth is collect the one of the year. Okay, that was 3 days ago. So that's the rumor about the Wyatt 6 faction that Bray Wyatt can be setting up. My biggest thing with this Bray Wyatt return, like I said the other night on the episode, are we getting the Fiend? Honestly, I want on people who don't even want the 2013 gimmick Bray Wyatt. I honestly don't want it. If they're going to have to kind of, give a gimmick or show a gimmick or debut a new character, whether they're trying to push the White Rabbit thing, I honestly don't care about a 2013 Wyatt family gimmick. I think that's a little irritating. It's not what's been expected of fans. Since his previous gimmick at WrestleMania 37 last year, we last saw the Fiend. So I think that fans want the Firefly Funhouse. We want the Fiend. Obviously, we don't want a 2013 bootlegged Bray Wyatt. Nobody wants that shit. So I don't think a 2013 Wyatt family gimmick is really good move right now. I personally feel, you give them the White Rabbit gimmick or you continue to push the Fiend gimmick, since that's what was selling the merchandise, since that's what fans loved, then I think that you give the Fiend Bray Wyatt. So on AEW tonight, we also got a match on the card. We got Swerve Strickland versus Billy Gunn. Swerve Strickland took up the victory against losing Billy Gunn. We also got Wardlow and Samoa Joe, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, in a match. And they also were in I believe they're the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. And they were also in a segment with FTR. the AEW World Tag Team Champions. So that's what's going on with AEW tonight. And then we got the debut of Renee Parquette. So that's interesting. And then, a week or so ago, we got the debut of Paige, also known as Shreya. So we got her debuting. So it's pretty interesting. They're getting a lot of ex WWE talent, a lot of ex WWE guys joining. Right now, joining AEW. So it's kind of interesting. We have recently seen Cesaro, which is Claudio, Samoa Joe, John Moxley, Chris Jericho, so CM Punk. So this is kind of interesting that AEW becoming WWE all over again. AEW is becoming WWE all over again. So we got to push WWE talent to make our show pop. Let's push original guys. Let's push, to me, fuck all of this. Oh, we got to push these ex-WWE niggas. Nah, we got to push AEW talent. Push original talent. Push guys like Darby Allin. Push guys like MJF. I'm not even a Hangman Adam Page fan, but push him. You can push so many other talent in your company than trying to push these WWE guys who had their run in WWE and pretty much built their success and fan bases off of World Wrestling Entertainment. That shit is weak. So I think that now we're at a time where you got so much young talent, original talent on the roster. I mean, you got guys like The Acclaim, guys like Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. So you got, Keith Lee's an ex-NXT champion, former WWE guy, but you got all this talent, man. Like, bro, you got all this talent, and we're still pushing WWE niggas. We're still pushing WWE talent. It's not getting anywhere. So I think that right now, AEW is kind of failing. AEW is failing. It really is. The problem I have with Keith Lee is, I'll say this, he's a great guy. He's a former NXT champion. He faced guys like Damian Priest. He's faced guys like, come on, when he debuted on the roster, come on, it was amazing seeing him debut. He fought Bobby Lashley. He had matches with Matt Riddle. So come on, the guy's great. Karrion Kross. They could have really pushed that guy to the moon, but like you said, it was the releases and the things that happened, the crazy releases that happened last year in 2021. That was just kind of ridiculous. WWE lost half their roster, but now they pretty much got him back. But I think the thing with Keith Lee is a great talent, but every time we see somebody like a Keith Lee get on the roster or just come back, he's running away. He's disappearing. Keith Lee and Swerve were the tag team champs. They had the straps. They were the tag team champions, and they lost the titles. Now we just saw a match where literally Swerve Strickland basically made Billy Gunn look like a jobber. So I just think that it's kind of at a point where, like, where the hell is Keith Lee, bro? Keith Lee has to be on television. And again, we understand these are human beings, things happen in people's personal lives, whatever. But Keith Lee is talented. And if we don't see enough of Keith Lee, and every time we see him running off, I think to me, Keith Lee is great, but he's one of those guys who just runs off too much. Every time he comes back on the roster, he's gone. So I think that he needs a consistent, who knows what's going on in his personal life, but we just need a consistent run from Keith Lee. And definitely, if he sticks with AEW, we can see that AEW world title around his waist. He can hold the AEW championship a good amount of time for a good run. So next we also talking about guys like um, Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland was great as long as he was in WWE with Hit Row. You know, um, I would love to see him come back in WWE and join Hit Row, but I think he's kind of getting booked better in AEW because they're showcasing his in ring talent. Because the guy was great in NXT, and I also think he's great in AEW right now. So they're kind of showcasing what his in ring talent is more than what WWE was trying to do. I think AEW is booking his talent more as a pro wrestler than him being a sports entertainer. So this is nothing I'm going to talk about on the show is who could we see feud with the Fiend Bray Wyatt? I was kind of also thinking that this could be very interesting because the fact too, you want to push, you want to definitely push Bray Wyatt as much as you can since now that he's back, and you make these teases. Now that he's signed to the SmackDown brand, we could see him. I mean, the WrestleMania match at WrestleMania 38 in Los Angeles next year in April for a 2-night event. I want to see Karrion Kross versus the Fiend Bray Wyatt. You know, if Triple H could book that fucking match at WrestleMania, then yeah, he could book it, bro. They could book that match. I definitely feel that's a match you want to do. If you want to have a great card and you want to have a less mediocre WrestleMania card like you have had over the last decade, then to me, you do this match. I've actually said, in my opinion, there has been a great WrestleMania since WrestleMania 25, which was all the way in 2009. Yeah, this year's WrestleMania was fun, but it wasn't great. Last year's WrestleMania was pretty solid. That was a pretty decent card last year. WrestleMania was pretty fun last year. We had great matches, but I just think for next year's WrestleMania they have to book the Fiend Bray Wyatt. They got to book Bray versus Karrion. I think that's the only way that you could really give a pop for the fans. It can pop the whole show. It can really make the show pop and make it feel like they're trying to book differently and trying to take us in the next era and the next generation of WWE. And lately, they have been feeling like they're doing that. But I think that when you do stuff like this, you have to come right. You know, let these guys go at it. Throw them in a steel cage. Make a Firefly Funhouse match. I don't care some weird creative shit they can do with that match, but I think that you have to book Karrion versus Bray for WrestleMania. It would be crazy if they didn't. I definitely think we could see him and Braun Strowman go at it. Since I think they're both signed on the SmackDown brand, so we could definitely see Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman. We could see Bray Wyatt versus Karrion Kross. I believe that we could also see. There was a history obviously between Braun and Bray. They have the Extreme Rules 2020 Horror Show match, so there's a possibility we could see that. And then there's a possibility we could also see him versus Roman in the Bloodline. I think Wyatt 6 can definitely stand toe to toe with the Bloodline, whoever those members are. But I would like to see. We haven't seen a supernatural gimmick in a while in WWE. Better yet, in wrestling. You know, we since the Undertaker retired, where's our great supernatural gimmick? And that was Bray Wyatt, who they released last year, and now he's back on SmackDown. So I think that you have to kind of push someone like Bray Wyatt or The Fiend because we need that supernatural gimmick. We need that character draw that WWE needs. We need a character. We need someone who kind of draw the fans back to wrestling than just seeing these mortal guys. I want to see the fucking Immortal or some shit like that. So let's see fucking Bray Wyatt. Let's see someone like the Fiend. You know, I think it's great to put someone like that. Um, let's see Bray versus Roman. There's a history with this because Roman came back at was it? It was in 2020, and I believe it was one of the pay per views. Like what pay per view was that? It was at SummerSlam 2020. Reigns returned and defeated Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman in a triple threat match for the WWE the Universal Championship. So therefore, we had Roman Reigns become the new Universal Champion back in 2020, which was Bray Wyatt's last title run and the last title he held. So he lost the title at Summer 2020, which is a couple years ago. So I actually think it's perfect booking to bring a guy back on to getting the title that he lost from 2 years ago. It just makes perfect sense. If they do Roman versus the Fiend, I would definitely book that at Royal Rumble 2020. I mean Royal Rumble 2023 next year. If they can book Roman versus Bray at Royal Rumble, then they're finally using their brains and becoming fucking smart again. Because this is how you book matches. So I'm all for Bray versus Roman again. The Fiend versus Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble 2023. We could also get Bray Wyatt versus Drew McIntyre, which we have never seen before. Someone like Bray can definitely step up to Drew McIntyre. I believe that. I think that we could definitely get a good run, a good feud, and story being told between Drew and Bray. Let's say they have a match at Crown Jewel, they have a match at Survivor Series. Bray comes out, distracts Drew in this match with Karrion Kross. Kross gets the victory. That way, Kross can get over, and Drew could kind of have a new feud with the Fiend. Makes perfect sense. So I could definitely see and end up being booked on Friday nights. So that makes perfect sense. We could also get Austin Theory versus the Fiend. I don't know how entertaining that will be, but we could definitely get it back. We can get Cody Rhodes versus the Fiend when Cody Rhodes is back. We could also get Randy Orton versus the Fiend because there's a history there. We saw that history between like the match they had at TLC with tables, ladders, and chairs, WrestleMania 37 night 2 or night 1 of those nights I believe, and then we got their match on Monday Night Raw, so we got a lot of that. So we definitely can see him in Orton again when Orton's back from injury, whenever that's gonna happen. So that's probably the matches we most likely will see.